But firstly, Andrew, thank you so much for having me in the program in Brisbane. So good to be back after so long. And before I even answer that, I'd like to just acknowledge Credit Corp for bringing me here all the way from Papua New Guinea to be part of the program. Credit Corp has been part of my journey for 15 years, funding most of my small businesses. And so I'm thankful that they've taken me here, and I was also part of their 40th anniversary, so I'm more or less an ambassador for Credit Corp here.
They're very welcome too.
Thank you. Basically for me, having thought of doing business came along when I started to do my degree at the University of Papua New Guinea. Prior to that, I was an air traffic controller straight after Sugeri for 4 years. But I lost my job because my husband, who was a doctor in the army, transferred to Igam Barracks in Leh, which is another town. And so then I decided I was doing nothing much at the house, so my husband decided out of guilt to sponsor me to study business, and that's where I ended up doing business studies. And then he transferred back to Port Moresby, so I just organized with the 2 universities, and I went back and completed my business studies at the other university. And finally, in 1990, I left and joined Pricewaterhouse for 4 years and served in corporate sector for another 15 years before I started my own private business. So it's been a journey for me.
So what was the first business?
I firstly got my license to practice as an accountant, private practice for 4 years, and from there I just got whatever funds I raised, I invested in small businesses. So I went into the car rental business in Guinea Islands, which is like the islands part of Papua New Guinea, New Ireland and East New Britain, the best parts of Papua New Guinea.
This is Frangipani, Kaha?
So,
yep.
Yes. So if you want a holiday, come to the best parts where I come from is New Britain, Kokopo, and New Ireland. So yeah, I started a car rental business there, and Credit Corp supported me with $2 million to start, and I was quite thankful for them to do that. I had already had a major business with my husband, which is the health. I own a major private hospital in PNG with my husband, and a lot of the Papua New Guineans are my clients, and so that was always there. We've been 32 years in that business, but I branched out to do my own business as a woman, so yeah.
Did you find it hard to raise finance? Or what kind of conversation would you have? Did you find that you had to prove yourself more because you were a female entrepreneur?
Yeah, I mean, I found it really hard because I always, my other businesses with my husband was always joint accounts, joint assets and things like that. But when I wanted to branch out on my own, and I share my story with a lot of young women and girls in Papua New Guinea, and they like that because I wanted financial independence from my husband. And I tried my best to convince the financial institution, and thankful for Credit Corp for having confidence in me as an accountant to have done that. Unfortunately, many Papua New Guineans are not in the same shoes as me, and they find it hard to, write proposal, prove to the bank that they can do businesses. But, I've seen that's changing now. And in the last I've been in private business for 16 years, and of course 30 years with Robin, my husband. But I have seen that over time, in the last 16 years, in those years were only a few SMEs getting into business, but in the last 10 years, there's more and more Papua New Guineans getting into business, and it's a good sign. And of course, the SME policy has been put in place by our government in 2016 to drive the SME sector. So I'm really, really thankful for our government that have done that policy to drive the growth in the SME sector, and also even last year providing the first 200,000 to help us get started. Thank you.
Yes. So one of the challenges, I guess, is to choose the right kind of business to go in.
Yes.
So when you're making a choice about what kind of business you're going to invest in or start, what are you thinking about? What category, what criteria are you applying to that business?
Well, I think to answer that, you need to look at the need that's needed in the local environment, and then you have to look at how you can serve that need. Do you have the right sort of staff? You have the right infrastructure to do that? So it's really a tough decision most times for people in Papua New Guinea. A lot of, 85% of our people live outside in the rural areas. So a lot of them are in agriculture mostly. and craft. I'm also, if you see my profile, I also run a major fashion runway in PNG, and I've empowered about more than 800 SMEs in that area. And together with the support of the Australian government, we roll out the training in 5 provinces, trained 800 of them, empowered many people in the creative sector, and so the work continues.
One of the things that's very popular with entrepreneurs is books, or rules that you apply to how you run your working life. There's people who think they can run their entire business lives on 4 hours a week or whatever. How do you, given you have lots of different business interests, how do you control what time you spend on each of them?
So for me, having multiple businesses, when Westpac came in and founded the major business, which is the hospital, and it required me back full-time. I was more or less a small SME out there, helping many others. So in terms of, what was the question again, sorry?
How do you manage your time against all these different businesses?
So the best way to address that is to make sure that you set up systems and you appoint the right person to run the business for you, and they just report to you and you monitor what's going on. And so that's one of the challenges of multiple businesses, having the time to make sure you're on track and checking your managers and the reports that are coming in.
So the majority, outside of the fashion, the majority of businesses that you've been involved with seem to be service orientated, providing a service that possibly wasn't there previously. Someone once described to me Papua New Guinea as an underserviced economy, that there was a requirement for services that just weren't available in the ground, and that's often why services are being bought in from overseas for Papua New Guinea. What do you see the opportunity is to develop the service economy in Papua New Guinea?
There's a lot of opportunities, and Papua New Guineans are having more disposable income in their hands, and they like to go out, eat out, and have a nightlife. And so there is a lot of need for restaurants, a lot of need for a lot of other services in PNG. So it's a huge potential in Papua New Guinea. And I suppose, this is why we have conferences like this. So those that are running this business, they want to go into those businesses and come and look at opportunities in Papua New Guinea.
And particularly in healthcare, I mean, as you mentioned, you run Paradise Private Hospital, which was the first nationally owned private hospital in PNG. There's a big debate, I guess, about how much government can afford to provide as far as healthcare is concerned and how much the private sector should be providing. What do you think the opportunity is for the private sector in healthcare?
Very big opportunity. As I've seen.
Are we scratching the surface yet? Like, really, the demand is enormous.
The demand is bigger than I can express, but COVID-19 brought out the importance of healthcare in Papua New Guinea, and the importance of more investment in this area, both in private and public. So, lifestyle disease is becoming more and more in Papua New Guinea, and the need. A lot of organizations are recognizing the importance of making sure that they look after their staff with their medical health. So we've seen direct billing increase in terms of insurance for a lot of their staff. And so, health is it's a big business. Health, as I see it, is a business that you'll never go out of business because people will always get sick and they'll always need you. So, and potential is there, pharmaceutical, equipments, many areas of health that need a lot of players and a lot of people to come into that in that space.